Thanks for tuning in to leftcoastnews.net. News and information from the wacky, sometimes communist, liberal west coast of the United States. For more, visit leftcoastnews.net.
Well, we're going to talk about Washington's Community Reinvestment Program. Recently, Brandy Cruz from the Undivided podcast did a story about this program and the corruption, no surprise, that's in it. This is basically a reparations program that provides people of color money for home loans, business loans, various other things. The state funds it with your tax dollars. If you're white and struggling, that's too bad. They're not going to help you. But they'll take your taxes to pay for it. They'll take their cut of your new home purchase to put money towards this. Washington's Community Reinvestment Program was created in 2022, passed into law by the Democrat-led legislature, and given an initial $200 million investment. The program received another $50 million in funds for 2025 to 2027, despite a roughly $15 billion budget shortfall that resulted in Governor Bob Ferguson signing the largest tax increase in state history into law. This after he said there would be no tax increases, right? You remember that. The funds are meant to help people of color, Black, Latin American, Native American, Asian, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander, get home and business loans, foreclosure prevention, make home repairs, and even pay off credit card debt. Excuse me. The program promised to uplift communities disproportionately harmed by the war on drugs, to create lasting economic benefits, build wealth, and ensure everyone has a fair chance at success. Instead, evidence shows the money is being used to enrich those with direct ties to the BIPOC nonprofits that now control its purse strings. So a Black real estate agent was trying to hook her clients up with funds from this program, her Black clients, to buy a home. Her name is Corey Orvold. And was basically turned away, even though she's Black and the buyers were Black, because she wasn't a preferred real estate agent for these programs. Corey, who was half Black and half white, was introduced to the program as a real estate managing broker. If she had a client who met the criteria for Community Reinvestment Program, CRP funds, she let them know they could qualify for down payment assistance. All they had to do was apply through one of several nonprofits that were given state contracts to award the money. But Corey and others in real estate, many of them people of color themselves, kept running into problems. Their clients were often told they'd have to work with a preferred broker or lender. Some were directed to apply, only to be told that the money had run out. Others were given last-minute excuses why the help they qualified for didn't come through. Their documents weren't notarized, their account numbers were misplaced, the application wasn't reviewed in time, blah, blah, blah. Within a few months, she compiled her massive binder of evidence, page after page of public records and home loan documents, many of them for home buyers with a direct connection to the nonprofits entrusted with getting financial help to the community. Big surprise. One of those nonprofits is the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle. What follows is a tangled web of self-dealing that has now caught the attention of both the State Department of Commerce and the Office of Attorney General Nick Brown. I'm sure they won't do a damn thing about it. The only reason they're even bringing it up is because this was brought to public attention. There is little doubt that home ownership across Washington state is out of reach for many. The average home price here is roughly $630,000, even higher if you buy in the Puget Sound area. For many young or first-time homebuyers, any amount of help would be welcome. But how about $350,000 in free, air quotes, money to get you in the door? Records show a woman named Asia Williams closed on a Tacoma home for $424,950 on March 25, 2025, thanks to multiple state programs that gift funds to people based on skin color. The actual amount of her home loan was $89,960. Well, why did she need all that extra money? Asia received $99,668 in funds from the Washington State Housing Finance Commission, which administers the newly created Covenant Homeownership Program, a reparations program designed to help first-time homebuyers of color with down payment. $100,000 in Community Reinvestment Program funds from United Housing Resources, $100,000 in Community Reinvestment Program funds through the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle, $50,000 in Community Reinvestment Program funds through Bird Bar Place, a Seattle-based nonprofit that says it works to decrease economic barriers and inequities. That's a total of nearly $350,000 to help just one person, most of it courtesy of you, the taxpayer. The real kicker? Asia's mom, Angela Williams, happens to be the Director of Financial Empowerment at the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle, one of the organizations that awarded her 6 figures in down payment assistance. Curiously, Angela Williams wrote in an email obtained by Undivided that the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle closed its down payment assistance program to applicants in March 2025 due to lack of available funds, just days after her own daughter used the money to buy a house. Gave all the money to the people they wanted to give it to, and that was that. And that is hardly the only time the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle handed out money to insiders while turning other community members away. Ariana Gold is a HUD-certified housing counselor for the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle. Records show that the organization awarded someone named Ariana Gold $49,800 to pay off consumer debt on April 29, 2025. Wouldn't you like some taxpayer money to pay off your credit card debt or your car loan or whatever? In the same email mentioned previously, Angela Williams said the debt reduction program also ran out of money in March, a month before Ariana Gold got approved for debt forgiveness. Another home purchase closed with community reinvestment funds after the Urban League claimed to be out of money was for a woman named Tracy Brown. Tracy closed on a $640,000 home in Seattle in July. She was given $100,000 in community reinvestment funds through the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle and $145,341 from the Covenant Home Ownership Fund, which is funded by the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. Tracy Brown is the founder of an organization called Healthy Smart Homes, which was awarded $350,000 contract by the Housing Finance Commission to help raise awareness for the Covenant Home Ownership Program, which she went on to benefit from. The contract was also a direct partnership with the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle. Tracy would send potential home buyers to the Urban League, which turned around and gave her $100,000 in taxpayer money. Other, less connected buyers weren't as lucky. He did everything he was supposed to do and got nothing, said the mother of a 27-year-old first-time home buyer who applied to get down payment assistance with the help of the Urban League. The mother, who wished to remain anonymous, said ULMS strung her along, then ultimately turned her away. My son broke down because he was so close, she said. Just to go through that was tough as a mother to deal with. This is a young African-American man who has never been in trouble, has always worked since he was 16, sometimes 2 jobs. He went to college, graduated from college, and this is what he was put through. She says she grew suspicious that the funds were being set aside for other, more connected buyers like Asia Williams, who was granted her down payment assistance around the same time. Surely some of the $350,000 Asia received to help purchase a home could have been spread out to help more people. Others thought so as well. In March 2025, Bird Bar Place Director of Strategic Initiatives Tiffany Gelly-Gray sent out an internal email with expanded eligibility guidelines for down payment assistance. In it, she warned against the layering of funding sources to help a select few. Bird Bar is one of several organizations tasked with distributing community reinvestment funds and awarded $50,000 to Asia Williams around the same time the email was sent out. We are committed to ensuring these resources are used effectively to expand access to home ownership opportunities, not just for a select few, Kelly Gray wrote. If you have a client currently in processing who intends to layer our program with another CRP-funded program, please inform us immediately so we can discuss next steps and ensure compliance. While the email didn't explicitly mention Asia Williams or a connection to the Urban League through her mother, Angela, it came shortly after Corey started alerting stakeholders to her concerns with how the program was being administered. The tone of the email suggested Bird Bar was caught off guard by the layering of down payment assistance to help a single home buyer, rather than the funds being spread out to help many. You shouldn't be able to go to all these different charities and get assistance. You should be able to get assistance from one charity, and whatever they give you is what you get. Beyond direct assistance to employees and their family members, the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle played favorites with brokers and lenders, funneling clients to a select few. In a text message shared with Undivided, one home buyer told her loan officer she was advised that I should work with one of the recommended lenders on the list. This was advised to me by the HUD counselor. She was stating that because of the intricacies and difficulties working with the program, it would be easier to work with a partner that's already worked with the Urban League. This practice allowed those preferred partners to profit off the program, while those who weren't preferred lost clients and the resulting commission. One lender listed as a preferred provider for the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle purchased an 8,270 square foot, $2.2 million home with an indoor swimming pool in Kent last November with her husband, a real estate broker. Before that, they lived in a modest house in Auburn. This is not the purpose of a program like this, to buy mansions for people with your tax money. 8,200 square feet? Are you effing kidding me? Combined as a couple, they helped to close dozens of home sales funneled to them from the Urban League and other BIPOC nonprofits. Presuming they're not doing that work for free, business has been good. In 2024, the real estate broker in question closed with 17 home buyers. In previous years, he averaged 10 or 11. In 2023, closed on only 4. In 2025 to date, he's closed on 35. Records show the couple was involved in closing the loan for Asia Williams, one as the lender and one as the broker. Undivided has chosen not to name the couple. While they are benefiting from the distribution of state funds, they are not contracted with the state, don't have a fiduciary responsibility to taxpayers. So they can be corrupt assholes with no accountability with your tax money. There is no evidence to date that they are giving kickbacks to organizations that send them business. While it is unclear how they became preferred partners, social media posts show the couple is well connected. In one picture, the woman is standing in her backyard of her new mansion with State Representative Jamila Taylor, the architect of Washington's Covenant Homeownership Program. It's just disgusting. In your face. Abuse and corruption, taking your money and redistributing it to these other people so they can buy an 8,200 square foot home with your tax money while you struggle, while you rent. In some instances, preferred lenders and brokers are part of the organization responsible for handing out funds. Nicole Bascombe Green, who is connected to multiple organizations with ties to the Community Reinvestment Program, operates a real estate brokerage out of her house. That brokerage employs several other of her family members who have closed home purchases for clients sent to them through the Urban League. In addition to being an Urban League board member, Bascombe Green is also the chair of the Washington State Housing and Finance Commission, which helps administer down payment assistance programs. All this stuff, tangled web, all these people have their hands in every pot. And they set this whole program up so they could steal money, steal tax money. And of course, there's no accountability, there's no oversight. As a real estate broker, this does not preclude me from supporting my clients and their ability to use these great programs that have come out to support the people solely because they work with me. Bascom Green told us in an email, I am proud to be able to support these programs and my clients who need these programs just like everyone else. Unless you're white, then you don't. She denied that the situation prevents a conflict of interest. There is no conflict of interest because these interests have all been fully disclosed to all parties and in all my board affiliations. Everyone knows the work I do and where I do it, and there is nothing questionable about it. Okay, if you say so. That absolutely is conflict of interest. You should not be able to do what you're doing. The Urban League also denies any wrongdoing. In an email, it declined to provide a list of all staff members, board members, or family members who have benefited directly from CRP funds, citing privacy and confidentiality. Without that list, which the state could presumably compel in an audit, it's impossible to know how much money went directly into the hands of people with ties to the organization. The list would, for example, settle suspicion around a foreclosure involving, once again, Angela Williams. According to county records, foreclosure proceedings were initiated against Angela's Tacoma home in May 2024. The home foreclosure was rescinded in January 2025 at the exact same time her employer, the Urban League, was using community reinvestment funds to save people with foreclosure. Was one of those people Angela Williams herself? Asked repeatedly, the organization refused to say. Williams did not respond for comment. The Urban League of Seattle also declined to explain how funds were given out after March 2025 when Angela Williams is on record saying the programs have been depleted. ULMS is committed to transparency, accountability, and equity in all our programs, including the Community Reinvestment Program. Urban League President and CEO Michelle Merriweather told Undivided in an email, ULMS assistance recipients must meet eligibility requirements set by the Washington State Department of Commerce. These standards are applied equitably to all applicants, regardless of employment or organizational affiliation. Sadly, many hardworking individuals, including those affiliated with community-based organizations, continue to face barriers to home ownership due to systematic inequities and high living costs. We take concerns about program administration seriously and remain committed to upholding public trust and transparency in all our work, Merriweather added. Okay, if you say so. Again, in your face. There's nothing you can do about it, and we can spend this however we want. Because otherwise, it's racist, right? Corey said she's included Merriweather on email threads detailing concerns with the program for months to no avail. I want accountability. Even if it's not criminal charges, Corey said, some of these people need to lose their real estate license. Some of these people need to lose their lending license. The IRS needs to be involved. The Community Reinvestment Program is administered through the Department of Commerce. It is a multi-million-dollar contract with the Urban League of Seattle Its multi-million-dollar contract with the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle explicitly addresses conflicts of interest. No employee, officer, or agent may participate in the selection, award, or administration of a contract if he or she has a real or apparent conflict of interest. Such a conflict would arise when the employee, officer, agency, and member of his or her immediate family, his or her partner, or an organization which employs or is about to employ any of the parties indicated herein has a financial or other interest or in or a tangible personal benefit from a firm considered for contract. Well, that goes directly against all the crap that I've just read to you. So once again, in this state, rules for thee, but not for me. The people in charge of all these programs and state organizations can commit all the fraud and corruption they want. But if this was you, you'd be charged. You'd have it shut down. You'd have your money stripped away. You just see this over and over and over in this state. There is no clause that says disclosing a conflict of interest ameliorates it, as Balcom Green suggested. In an official statement, a Commerce spokesperson told Undivided that it takes all complaints and allegations of misconduct very seriously. We are reviewing program records and will take appropriate action should malfeasance be discovered. It's been discovered. Reached for comment, Commerce Director Joe Wen was more candid. The public deserves accountability and transparency. We appreciate that the whistleblower raised this issue, he said. We are taking action. Wen is in an interesting position as a former state senator. He co-sponsored the bill that created the Community Reinvestment Program. But as the newly appointed Commerce Director under Governor Bob Ferguson, he's now seeing the administration of that program and others in a new light. What we found when I came in wasn't acceptable, and I also think there wasn't enough rigor or accountability for how programs were run before I got here, he said. I don't think that's fair to the people of Washington State or the people we serve. Wen said he is pushing for additional oversight of state contracts, which includes a centralized contracts and compliance team. We've been working hard to clean up a lot of things, he said. As for the contracts involving Community Reinvestment Program funds, there are things that are happening that we can't always say out loud. Interestingly, after months of trying to get the attention of someone in state government, Corey only recently received an email from an investigator with the Office of Attorney General Nick Brown. A copy of that email was provided to Undivided to verify its authenticity. Corey officially spoke with the investigator on October 17th. While it's unclear whether any of the organizations involved committed a crime, yes, they did, by awarding themselves or their family members taxpayer funds, the involvement of the Attorney General's office seems to suggest some level of concern. In an email, a spokesperson for AG Nick Brown said that the office has a long-standing policy of not confirming or denying potential investigatory matters. This story only covers a fraction of the evidence in Corey's binder, which implicates more than a dozen local BIPOC nonprofits. There are also facets of the Community Reinvestment Program that neither Undivided nor Corey have even started looking into. In addition to down payment assistance and personal debt reduction, CRP helps with small business loans, crime prevention, legal assistance, re-entry, and other services. It's enough to keep every news reporter in the state busy for the rest of the year if they are willing to scrutinize diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Such programs created amidst the post-George Floyd race and social justice movement have gone notoriously unscrutinized for fear of being accused of racism. Why? It's just amazing to me that our tax money can be squandered in such a way and the state just ignores this garbage. Are you tired of this yet? Are you tired of the way the Democrats handle the finances in this state? We have a huge budget deficit. We just had the largest tax increase in state history. And you know there's another one coming. Ferguson was just interviewed and said that he was skeptical about any more tax increases. Well, they're going to have to do it. They're talking about creating an income tax for high earners in this state, directly against the state constitution, which explicitly says no income tax in Washington. They want to give it to people who earn over $1 million a year. 30%, I think, is what they want. Do you think that if they get that passed, that it'll just stay with the high earners? Historically, is that the way things have gone in the state? No. Nope. That will trickle down to us, all us little people, and we'll get an income tax, and we'll have an income tax and state sales tax. They have squandered billions of dollars for all these little pet projects, race-based projects, homeless. And what have they accomplished? Nothing. Nothing has changed. It has got worse and worse and worse. But the voters in this state overwhelmingly Keep voting for this trash. It seems like most of the people in this state want socialism, because that's what this is. Redistribution of wealth from people who work to people who don't, or don't work as hard, or can't get a good enough job, or whatever. My question is, for these people who buy these ridiculous homes, how are you going to pay the property taxes on a home like that, on a multi-million-dollar home? I hope you have a good job, because property taxes are going to be outrageous. This is your tax money being flushed down the toilet every day, your hard work, and they keep asking for more to take out of your paycheck. You're going to keep voting for this? You're going to keep putting up with this? This story should make you really angry. I haven't seen much of this on the news. I don't know if I've seen it on the news at all, other than Brandy posting this, doing the good work to put this out in the open, bring it to light. And Washington State Standard has posted the story on their website. Local news should be all over this. But no, we're not going to talk about this because it's race. We don't want to upset the black and brown people, as usual. It doesn't excuse the corruption or the theft of money, tax money. If we're going to have a program like this, it should benefit any of those people who qualify for it. They shouldn't be able to use preferred real estate agents, preferred brokers, their friends and family, in other words, who get a $300,000 commission off an $89,000 home paid for by the Washington State taxpayer. The state loves to give money, your money, to all these little charities and nonprofits that are super socialist, communist. Look them up. Go look them up. They're all affiliated with socialist and communist groups. And there's no accountability. There's no oversight. They don't know where the money goes. We just saw it in Seattle recently with hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't know where it went. Obviously, it hasn't helped the homeless problem, but they still want to spend more on it. This next legislative session is about to start. How many new taxes do you think these morons will come up with this time? That can just go be thrown about with no accountability or oversight. When will there be some accountability? When will we see the state take some action, these cities take some action against these people who just waste your money? I'm tired of having money taken out of my paychecks for this garbage. I didn't vote for any of this. I work hard for my money. I want to keep it. Shouldn't be going to these people who don't, who are enriching themselves, paying off their credit card bills, and whatever else they do with it, waste it. We see this time and time again with these charity groups, BLM. Millions of dollars so a couple people could buy their homes and cars and whatever else. You need to reach out to the governor's office, the attorney general's office, your state representatives, and demand that they look into this and take it seriously and do something about it and stop wasting our money. Stop voting for this trash. Stop allowing them to take from your paycheck. Left coast, baby.